it's an important issue. Next question. Yes, sir.
Can you explain the advantages and disadvantages of requiring district lines to be drawn using natural geographic boundaries like rivers, lakes, community boundaries, etc., as opposed to gerrymandering district lines based on race or party affiliations?
Yeah, that's a great question. Gerrymandering comes from I think it's in the late 1800s. There's a governor in Massachusetts or New York. His name was Governor Gerry, or with a G, and he redrew the congressional lines that looked like a big salamander all over the state. It was the weirdest district, and they said that he gerrymandered his district. That's where the term comes from. And what that does is that's an intentional carve out to protect the elected official and potentially the elected official's party or that elected official's race. North Carolina, there was a congressional seat that the Supreme Court struck down that had a little bit of an area in one county. I think it was in Raleigh area, which is the portion of this county was heavily minority. Went down the interstate corridor, and the line was literally, you know how big an interstate is from one side of the street to the other, 50 miles, and then got into another area. So it looked like a big, giant dumbbell. Actually, it was more than, I think it was 170 miles. They struck it down. The reason why it's important to draw geographical reasons is it would be insane for me or people in this county to think that Lexington County has something in common with Horry County. Y'all have a lot more in common with Aiken than you do Horry County. I don't know who y'all play in high school sports or the businesses that y'all do, but okay, well, they're more together. The same thing applies. My district right now was a new district in 2002 because Horry County was growing so much, and it was around the town of Socastee, where I kind of came from. So it's important because natural boundaries make sense, and also communities make sense. You don't want to put two communities that have nothing in common in the same congressional district if you can help it, or state house district. So you're going to see some of that. I drew some maps this morning because I'm on House Judiciary. We're going to get the first whack at this. The lines will be drawn and approved by probably the end of June of this year. Now, what happens from that is it's going to go to the Justice Department, which they're going to redraw the lines. We're going to sue, and then the federal court's going to redraw the lines. And what they're going to use is roads, rivers, and communities as the base. And I think we're going to have a fair district throughout the state for everyone. Next question.
My name is Alexis, and after high school, I plan to go to college to become a marriage counselor.
Oh, wow. You got to do a lot of studying on that, then.
If the federal government isn't willing to provide for our common defense by defending against invasion by illegal immigrants, why are state leaders not more bold in asserting the rights of our state to protect itself against illegal immigration?
Great question. And relevant question, too, on a couple points. 2 years ago, I served on the Illegal Immigration Conference Committee for the House and Senate. And we did one thing first. We targeted businesses that hired illegal immigrants. And they have to use E-Verify, which is the national program to check if they're a citizen or not. If they don't, they get fined. So that's one aspect. But yesterday, President Obama was in New Mexico. And he's a pretty good jokester, I'll give him that. He's got some good liners. And what he said was, he believes that the federal government under his administration, President Bush's administration, has done enough to protect the borders. And he made a joke, it was kind of funny. The conservatives, talking about guys like me, what do they want to moat. They're not happy with the fence, they want to moat. Maybe we should throw some alligators in the moat. It's kind of funny. But under law right now, only the federal government can directly enforce illegal immigration laws. We're limited. Now, if illegal immigrants break our laws, we can go after them. So here's the question. Aren't they technically breaking our laws if they're in the country here illegally? I say yes. Other people say no. The federal courts, the Supreme Court is going to decide very quickly on this issue. Right now, as Arizona last year passed a law that says if you're in the country illegally, we're going to stop you, detain you, check your ID, and we're going to deport you. The federal government, the Obama administration, sued Arizona saying you can't do that. They're overrun down in Arizona. In Myrtle Beach, in one school in my district, Socastee Elementary, 28% of the elementary school students, 28% is English as second language. Now, I mean, they're being born here, but they're not being born here by American citizens. But once they're born here, they're American citizens, and the reason why that's important is if illegals come in here, they have a child, that child is an American citizen, they get to stay to raise that child because as the parents of an American citizen, they can apply for government handouts, Medicaid, food stamps, welfare. It costs the taxpayers a lot of money. So guys like me are trying to get them out. That's going to be solved soon. There's a bill that came through the House Judiciary, S20, that would make our laws like Arizona. And just, if we think you're an illegal, we're going to detain you, make you show an ID. Civil rights people have some concerns with that because what if you just got a good tan? Yeah? I'm not a Mexican, I just got a good tan. I'd make a joke, but, you got to see the other side. That's the most important thing. You don't have to agree with the other side, but you have to respect their position and their perspective. And then you just try to outbeat them. But, you don't take yourself too seriously either. There's a lot of people in Colombia that are big deals. They're so big, we're not even on their own planet. So you got to be normal and approach things with a sense of humor, and it makes it a lot easier. Good question. Next question.
What can we as a state do to stem the inflow of undocumented immigrants?
I think the first thing is we go after the businesses that hire them through punitive measures. If you are a company and you hire an illegal alien, the state's going to fine you $1,000. If you do it twice, we're going to fine you $2,000. If you do it 3 times, we'll fine you $5,000. Pretty soon, you're going to have to make a business decision. How valuable is that illegal alien? More importantly, though, I think it would actually be helpful by going after businesses because if they don't have the labor from the illegal immigrants, they're going to have to get it from somewhere. And in South Carolina, we have 9% unemployment. That's where we need to get it from our own people. Next question.
I'm Nick. I'm in 9th grade. I plan on going to Coastal Carolina for sports medicine.
All right, good deal, man.
The Department of Transportation recently approved financing for the I-73 project. They'll use the Plaza Station and obligation highway bonds. How can conservatives permit the state to reach its absolute debt limit? How does this differ from that the federal government is doing, pushing its spending all the way up to its debt limit?
That is a great question. If I was a typical politician, I would acknowledge that question and then ask for the next question. Here's the deal. Interstate 73 is a federally approved highway that is going to come in north of I-95 in Bennettsville, Marlboro County, and then come straight to Myrtle Beach. The problem is in Congress, they have what they call Potomac two-step. They'll create a project, they'll authorize a project, but that doesn't mean anything. They have to fund it. That's part 2. So I-73 has been authorized since then. Congressman Sanford was in Congress in 1992. And we've only raised $110 million for it. And I say only because it's a $2.5 billion project. And every year you have to add 3% to that cost for inflation. What we're doing with this is we're going to build the big interchange, or what people will call the bridge to nowhere. The reason why that's important is it is so audacious